Tennessee has recently passed a series of laws that target transgender minors and their families, making it one of the most hostile states for trans rights in the country. These laws include a ban on gender-affirming care for trans youth under 18, such as puberty blockers, hormones, and surgery. This law could have devastating consequences for the mental and physical health of trans kids, who already face higher rates of depression, anxiety, and suicide than their peers. A requirement for businesses and public facilities to post a sign if they allow trans people to use bathrooms, locker rooms, or changing rooms that match their gender identity. This law could expose trans people to harassment, discrimination, and violence, as well as violate their privacy and dignity. A restriction on where certain drag shows can take place, prohibiting them from occurring within 1,000 feet of schools, public parks, or places of worship. This law could limit the artistic expression and cultural diversity of drag performers and their audiences, as well as criminalize trans and queer identities. A prohibition on trans students from participating in school sports that align with their gender identity. This law could deny trans students the opportunity to enjoy the physical, social, and emotional benefits of sports, as well as stigmatize and isolate them from their peers. These laws have faced strong opposition and legal challenges from the U.S. Department of Justice, the ACLU, and other advocates who argue that they violate the constitutional rights and federal protections of trans people. Some of the actions taken by these groups include: the Justice Department filed a lawsuit against Tennessee over its ban on gender-affirming care for trans youth, alleging that it violates the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment and Title IX of the Education Amendments of 1972. The lawsuit seeks to block the enforcement of the law and declare it invalid. The ACLU filed a lawsuit against Tennessee over its ban on trans students in school sports, representing a 14-year-old trans boy who wants to try out for his high school's boys' soccer team. The lawsuit claims that the law violates the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment and Title IX of the Education Amendments of 1972. The lawsuit asks the court to stop the implementation of the law and allow trans students to play sports according to their gender identity. Several drag performers and LGBTQ organizations filed a lawsuit against Tennessee over its restriction on drag shows, contending that it infringes on their First Amendment rights to free speech and expression. The lawsuit requests the court to prevent the enforcement of the law and recognize it as unconstitutional. These lawsuits are still pending in federal court, but they represent a hopeful sign that Tennessee's discriminatory laws will not go unchallenged. Trans kids and their families deserve respect, support, and equality in every aspect of their lives.